Hi, I'm Steve Saylor, I'm blind, and if you're wondering how I'm able to play video games if I'm blind, if you take a look at the video here, you'll see exactly what I see when I'm playing video games. Welcome to Blind Impressions, the show where I take a look at a game for the very first time. I take a look at the settings, do a bit of gameplay, and then I give my accessibility thoughts on the game. Today's game I'm taking a look at is Gears Tactics. It's on Xbox Game Pass and on Windows 10 currently, with a future release on Xbox consoles sometime soon in the near future, as of this recording. Today I'm also going to be actually bringing in my friend Grant Stoner. He's the mobility editor at caniplaythat.com, and we're going to be talking about the accessibility together. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Yeah! This is nice. Okay. Let's see. Colorblind mode. Ooh. Deuteranopia. Ooh, and it gives you like a good, like, it gives you like a preview of it. Captioning. Full closed captioning. Let's do that. And let's do extra large, baby. Gore on, mature content on. Let the game read to me. Hello. On. Thank you. Save and continue. Okay, this is good. I like that it starts off with this.
Applying video settings. Applying settings. Please wait.
Ah!
Brightness, item 1 of 7. Adjust your brightness, item 1 of 7. Settings. F2 defaults, enter back.
Ooh, okay. I like this a lot. Hello.
Throttle up, enter continue.
Okay, so it doesn't really read this part, but enter to continue.
500.
Okay, so Diaz is there. I can shoot him with a...
Execute, stiff disabling
I can't
shot.
do a disabling shot.
Shoot LV1, execution. Shoot, fire at the selected target, action.
There we go.
Shoot.
Still in Overwatch,
Fire
but
it.
I'll shoot him again. There we go. I'll shoot him again.
Last round.
Action.
Okay, and then I will...
Health, 255.
Let's,
Shoot. Fire at the selected target.
Yep, let's shoot him. Get rid of this dude. And then get rid of that dude too.
Almost out.
Yeah. Let's shoot him again. Yeah, what the hell? Yeah, let's do it.
Weapons on empty.
Okay, and then reload.
I'm reloading.
Health.
Yeah.
Yes. Shoot that dude. I'm gonna kick some butt. All right, so here's the accessibility impressions of Gears Tactics. Now, normally I'd be doing this by myself, but today I brought in Grant Stoner, who is the mobility editor of caniplaythat.com, and I'm going to be talking about sort of my views as sort of a blind player, and Grant's going to be talking about his views from a motor disability standpoint. So first off, Grant, what did you think of Gears Tactics?
How much time do we have? Because it's amazing. It's honestly one of my top 3 games of this year.
Really? Top 3?
It's incredible. It's so good.
Go into details. What do you sort of like your top 3 things that you love about the game?
So generally speaking, I love the campaign. I love the time it takes to do missions. I love like the flow of the story and how you can upgrade your characters and the customization aspects you have. But aside from that, it's one of the most accessible games I've ever played.
Wow.
You can do literally every action with the left and right mouse button. That's it.
That is very true. Yeah, I did notice that, like, yeah, with regards to the remapping options, there's a lot there. Not only can you play this exclusively on a keyboard, but you can be able to exclusively remap everything to a mouse. Now, do you have like a gaming mouse, or is it basically just a basic like left and right click and scroll wheel kind of mouse?
So I do have a gaming mouse. It has about 13 buttons on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found myself only using, again, left and right. because you really
That's
don't
awesome.
need anything else.
From a like a blind perspective, actually, I really did. I'm with you. I kind of like the game. It's like I like the story. I like the campaign. I never thought I would sort of get into the tactics sort of style games. The only one I really played a decent amount of was Mario plus Rabbids for the Switch, which is a great, like, it's actually a pretty fun game.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that, but it was sort of like I never really kind of like jumped into the genre until Gears Tactics, and at first it was a bit of a learning curve because playing on PC is something that I'm just not really that used to. I'm used to a controller in my hands, and I know that Gears Tactics is going to be coming to Xbox soon. They're just basically retooling it to make sure that console players can be able to play and have the same experience as PC players are right now. But I'd say probably minus the fact that obviously there are definitely some colorblind options in there, which is great. There's subtitles that you can adjust like the size of, and also what dialogue is subtitled. And I love like the extra large. That was really cool, the extra large subtitle size. I dropped it down to about large because I didn't really need it super large, at least for my particular case. But one feature that I really was skeptical of was the narration, or what is it, let the game read to me feature. And I was surprised at how robust that feature was.
X3, health, 500. Shoot, fire at the select Overwatch, disabling Overwatch, Stim LV1, shoot, health, 560.
There are definitely a few things that weren't narrated, like a few dialogue boxes that would come up, but every action, every button, every time you clicked on a character, or tabbed to a different character, it gave you the relevant information that you needed, and it read pretty much everything. And some people would, like, even if you look at the gameplay that I created, it would look like that it was that's too much noise. But to me, it was enough that I didn't have to read very small text, which is probably my negative aspect of it, is that yes, the narration worked to compensate for the really small text, but I kind of wish that it had larger text so that I didn't have to always have narration turned on. Did you play around with narration at all?
Just to test it, because I've never used a feature like that, and I enjoyed it personally. But I like how, for you, it's not perfect, because it shows that accessibility as a whole isn't this grand design that every studio can do, and it still requires an extensive amount of work to perfect.
Agreed.
So while it's good for me, it's fantastic for me, and it's very good for you, there's still some issues that they can improve upon.
I will say that, and it's actually probably the first sort of tactical, or I guess even in kind of like if you want to include like RTSs in there as well. It's the first game that I've actually been able to sort of jump in and not worry about small text. I've played things like obviously like SimCity or City Skylines or even Civilization, and those games are just very hard for me to play because of the really small text. And then this doesn't really do anything like better for it, but I think a good caveat of it, or at least a good addition to it to be able to compensate, is the narration, which was something that I was like legit, I was actually blown away by it. I did not expect the amount of narration to happen. I thought, okay, when I didn't hear certain dialogue boxes didn't get narrated, I was like, I don't know. And even like kind of like when you start up the game, it was a bit difficult. But I think with a bit of retooling, maybe some sighted assistance for some players, this actually might be one of the most well narrated games that I've ever had encountered without having to have a lot of like OCR or basically text to speech like separately. What was the challenges that you found when you were trying to be able to play yourself from a motor disability standpoint?
So I found one issue which isn't even worth criticizing due to the fact that everything is so perfect. I found that you can't bind escape, which is used to open the options menu, open the game settings. You can save and quit if you're in the middle of a mission, but rarely did I find myself frustrated over that aspect. My biggest praise of the game, if I screw up it's not the game's fault, accessibility-wise, if that makes sense. Like, if my characters go down, or if I misplay or use an ability I shouldn't have used at that precise moment, it's my fault for not evaluating the situation.
The accessibility is what gives you agency to make the decisions on your own, and even if you screw up and make mistakes. What are your final thoughts on Gears Tactics?
So my review, which should be up today, is I give it a perfect score, 10 out of 10. For any disabled player, even if you're new to this genre of gameplay, purchase it. It's forgiving where it needs to be, it's difficult where it needs to be, rightfully so, not from a barrier perspective. And it's just so much fun.
For me, I would definitely 100% recommend it. It probably wouldn't get a perfect 10 out of 10 score from my perspective, but it's definitely like in the 8 or 9s kind of range. It's something that I want to go back to. I enjoyed it. Like I said, I think the only nitpicks as from a blind perspective is there is still small text, but the narration does make up for it. But I would like to have seen sort of a balance of that, where if they had a little bit larger text, I wouldn't necessarily have to rely on the game narration in order to be able to get by. So thanks again to Grant for joining me for this video. If you want to be able to check out his full review on the mobility aspects of Gears Tactics, make sure you go to caniplaythat.com. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below if there's something that you have a question about for Gears Tactics that we didn't cover in this video. Make sure you ask the questions in the comment section down below. And also, if you want to be able to see more of my videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you want to be able to be notified when new videos come out, make sure to also click the bell notification icon as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, I remain obedient to the yours. Bye.